What is up, everybody? Welcome back. So you've just pulled an absolute monster of a card, and that little voice in your head starts whispering, could this be a 10? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the entire PSA submission process. We're going to break down what the graders are really looking for, and I'm going to give you the playbook to help you snag that beautiful, beautiful Gem Mint 10. All right, let's get right into it.
Okay, I'm just going to throw a number at you. $900,000. Just let that sink in for a second. What do you think that represents in the wild world of trading cards? I mean, is that a whole collection? Is it a sealed case of some vintage product? What could it be?
No, that is the price for one single card. A perfect PSA 10 Gem Mint Pikachu Illustrator. And, that number really says it all, doesn't it? It shows why we're even having this conversation. A grade isn't just a number in a database. It can turn a piece of cardboard into a life-changing asset. So the big question is, how do you get one?
Well, it all starts with knowing the rules of the game. And believe me, there are rules. PSA graders look at every single card through the lens of four, and only four crucial factors. This is their checklist. If you want to play in the big leagues and get those high grades, you've got to know these 4 points inside and out.
First on the list is centering. This is literally all about how the picture on the card sits inside its borders. Is it shifted left, a little too high, a little too low? This is the first thing a grader's eyes are drawn to, so it makes a huge first impression.
And here's where we get into the pro-level stuff that a lot of people just don't know. PSA actually has different standards for the front and the back of the card. Look at this. For a PSA 10, the front has to be nearly perfect, within a 60-40 ratio. But flip it over, and they're way more forgiving on the back. You can get away with up to a 75-25 split. That's a massive difference, and it's a perfect example of why you need to know the specifics.
Okay, moving on to point number 2, the corners. For a top grade, you need 4 razor-sharp corners. That means absolutely no whitening, those little white dings, no fuzzy bits, no fraying, and definitely no soft corners or bends. A tiny little bit of wear on one corner that you might not even notice can be an instant grade killer. It's that serious.
Next up, the edges. This is another one that new submitters tend to glance over, but you gotta check all 4 edges like a hawk. You're looking for any little nicks, any chipping on the color, or that silvering effect you see along the edges of holo cards. A grader's gonna look, so you better look first. Clean, smooth edges are non-negotiable for a Gem Mint card.
And the fourth and final piece of this puzzle is the surface. This is kind of the catch-all for everything else on the front and back of the card. It's got to be clean. We're talking no scratches, no smudges, no weird stains, and, this is the big one, no factory print lines. Ugh. And of course, the card needs to have that original glossy shine. Any flaw here is a major red flag.
But, and this is a big but, here's something that might actually surprise you. A perfect score doesn't always mean a literally perfect card. Check out this quote from a veteran submitter. A card can have a tiny speck of whitening, maybe even 2 if they're super small, and still pull up PSA 10. So the takeaway here is don't just toss a card aside because you find one microscopic flaw. There's a little bit of wiggle room.
Okay, so now we know exactly what the graders are looking for. The question is, how do you put that knowledge into practice? Well, this is your at-home playbook. This is where you become the first line of defense, your own personal grader.
So here's your 5-step process. 1. Gently, and I mean gently, wipe the card's surface with a microfiber cloth. No liquids, no sprays, ever. Just get the dust and fingerprints off. 2. Use a really bright light, like an LED lamp or even your phone's flashlight. Tilt the card back and forth under the light. This will make any hidden surface scratches pop. 3. Get yourself a little magnifying glass. This is how you'll spot those tiny corner dings or edge issues. 4. To check centering, you can use a centering tool or even a free website like GemRate to get the exact ratios. And 5, when in doubt, ask a friend. If you have a buddy in the hobby, get a second set of eyes on it.
All right, you've done your homework, you've inspected your cards, and you've got a pile of what you think are absolute bangers. Now we get into the really fun stuff, the psychology of grading. These are the little insider tips that can give you that extra edge.
So let me ask you a question. When you're putting together your submission order for PSA, should you only include the cards that you think are flawless, absolutely perfect 10s? I mean, it makes sense, right? You send in the best, you get back the best. But the pros might tell you to do something a little different.
This little gem of a quote comes from a seasoned collector. He calls it the Designated Ugly Card, or DUC. What in the world is that? Why would you ever intentionally send in a card you know isn't perfect?
Well, here's the theory. It's all about something called grader fatigue. Remember, graders are people. If they're looking at a stack of 20 cards that are all incredible, their standards might actually get tougher. But what if you strategically put a card that's clearly an 8 or a 9 right before your absolute best card? It acts as a palate cleanser. It resets their expectations and makes your potential 10 look even more spectacular by comparison. It's a bit of a mind game, but a lot of people swear by it. You've done all the hard work. You've picked the cards, you've inspected them, you've even ordered them strategically. Now it's time to face the final boss, shipping. Please do not let all your hard work get ruined in transit. This part is so important. Okay, let's run through some rapid-fire do's and don'ts. Do put your card in a penny sleeve, then slide it into a semi-rigid holder, like a Card Saver 1. Do then sandwich your stack of cards between two pieces of thick cardboard. Do put that whole sandwich in a box with plenty of bubble wrap so it's snug and can't bounce around. Now, here's a huge one. Don't use those penny sleeves with the little sticky pull tabs. PSA actually uses a machine to slice the holders open, and those tabs can jam it up or damage the card. And finally, do use a reliable shipper like UPS or FedEx so you have tracking and peace of mind.
And there we go. That's the whole playbook. From the grader's 4-point checklist to packing your submission like a pro. You know what to look for, how to inspect your cards, and even a little secret about the grader's mindset. So now the only question left is, with all this new knowledge, is that next big pull you get going to be a future PSA 10? Go check your binders. Thanks for hanging out with me today.